What would a new player in the price-controlled petrol industry mean for established petrol dealers on island? The conversation has been ongoing from 2020, when President of the Petroleum Dealers Association, Evaristus Jamari, penned a missive to the Minister for Economic Development, Guy Joseph, seeking, quote, information regarding the entry of a new marketing company in the local petroleum market, unquote.
We sought to have an audience with the Minister of Economic Affairs, Mr. Guy Joseph, back in February 2020. A letter was CC'd to the Minister of Commerce, Mr. Bradley Felix. And essentially what we were saying is, look, we're hearing those rumors of another player into the market, which would increase the network of service stations. And we're saying, look, this is a control item. You have already decided what our margins would be on every fuel gallon of gas. Perhaps it would be important to have a discussion with us.
The petrol dealer in his missive pointed to the importance of controlling the growth of the market to avoid retailers from operating below the volume of viability. This, Jamari says, may be contrary to popular belief that more competition may fare well for consumers. However, he notes this is not the case for a small island developing state.
I know some people may think that generally, if there are more players in the market, somehow it's going to be a more competitive market, and therefore the price of the product is going to go down. Well, that obtains in larger economies where people have alternative ways of traveling across a country. For instance, you have trains and tubes, these are alternatives. But in our case, it's fuel, and there's no substitute for fuel. And it's not an accident that in all these smaller territories that fuel is a control item, because you let that get out of hand, it's very inflationary to impact the price of everything else. So that's why it's a control item. And so we need to have a discussion with the Minister of Economic Affairs.
Jamari says the February 5, 2020 letter by the Petroleum Dealers Association sent to the authorities to this date has received no response.
We followed it up in July, saying this has become urgent because we are hearing moves on the ground that, in fact, the new operators had established an office in St. Lucia. We still didn't get any response, which to me is discourteous. It shows a certain contempt for the players in the industry. And now we are knowing with a fair degree of certainty that they have entered the market by route of supply of LPG, and that plans are afoot to establish somewhere, I think in the cul-de-sac area. Containers are already here with cylinders, and not a word.
The managing director of Jamari & Sons is leery of the perceived lack of dialogue and introduction of a new player in the market.
The government is treating its citizens and its business sectors of a particular sector of the community in a very shabby way and disrespectful way, and in some ways are doing things to undermine the viability of existing operators, and they need to, made to account for it.
The petrol dealer calls for more transparency and accountability by the government of St. Lucia in a matter he says is undermining the current commercial players in the petrol industry. Solange Alfred, HTS News Force.